Hey everyone. So I thought today would be a good day to kind of talk about how I get inspired for certain pieces throughout my short story. So as I'm sitting here writing my short story, there are lots of things that you have to think about. The environment, the characters, the character props, the color palette. What are you thinking in your head in regards to the mood? Is it dreary? Is it sunshiny? What does it look like in your mind? So for me, as I'm a beginner writer, I decided to kind of create my own process where I go and I take a walk around the town that's close to me and I take pictures of particular things that could get me inspired to write about them or create my own little world based off of those little inspirations. So there's three things that I focus on specifically just for my mind. I focus on color palette, environment, and character. So when I go and I walk around the little town, I look at buildings and shops and the cool features that they have on the outsides. And I look at the color scheme of the buildings or the decorations around it or the trees, bushes, plants, whatever you see. What is that color scheme? Is it a good color palette to choose for your story? I would then take pictures of those. And then when I think of character, I think of, okay, what are some objects that would be cool for a character? Or what are objects that would be cool for characters to interact with? Like, what would be a good icebreaker to introduce these characters together, whether they're main characters or they're just bystanders in a particular scene, and it's just like a moment that these two characters have, but it wouldn't have happened without a particular object. So I took some pictures and I want to show you really quick what I'm talking about. I'm going to jump back into Trello, which is the organizational platform that I'm using to keep all of my story outline and character setup in line. Okay, so here's a look at 6 of the photos that I took that I thought would be perfect for the short story. So as you kind of look at all of them, you can see a theme, the color palette, the greens, the dark greens, the light greens, the grays. It's kind of dreary-ish, but not too dreary, just dreary enough to make it cozy. So we'll start with the first one. The first one is a brick home, building, shop, whatever you want to call it. To me, I thought it was really cool to snap a picture of this just because of the shape of it. It's so interesting. This, to me, looks like a shop perfect for the environment that I'm trying to create for Alice and Alec. I thought that the stuff around it was kind of cool, all the nature and everything, but I was really interested in the shape of this, the architecture of this building. The next photo is just of a plant. This is a plant in front of a building, and it may seem a bit weird that I took a picture of it, but think about the stories that you read and the environments that you come up with in your mind. And it's important to understand that plant life and the stuff around the buildings and the people, that makes up the environment too. So it's important to take a look at the stuff around you and get inspired by these kind of things. And I don't know if you can see, my shoes are at the very bottom of this picture, so you can see how big this plant actually is. It's a pretty big plant. So I took a photo of it not only because I love the shape of it and the colors, but I love how ginormous it is as well. And these will definitely play a part in the story somehow. I don't know how yet, but this definitely inspired me, whether it's the shape or the color or just the actual plant itself. There will be something inspired by this in my story. So right here, this is actually a museum. It's the side of a museum. And look at the building and the textures and all the mirrored windows. You can't see inside. It just looks like you're looking at yourself. And then look at the plant life around it. How cool is that? I love that. That's very cool. So I was inspired by this, and I think I'm going to make Alice's house this. I'm going to make Alice's house inspired by a museum. So it's going to be very unique and different. And then the next thing, this is the object I was talking about. So this is a really random photo, I'm sure, but this was taken at an antique shop, and this is the window of an antique shop. Hi, there I am. And I thought it would be so cool to incorporate some sort of old object like this, whether it's in passing with a person on the street, or it's an object that both Alice and Alec both have from past people in their family. Maybe they got handed down something like this from a grandparent, or maybe they connect with something antique from a family member that their family member shared with someone else in their life, but somehow it connects both Alec and Alice. I don't know, something about this is inspiring to me, and I know I can create something cool from it. But just by looking at this photo and taking a photo and seeing it in real life, I got inspired immediately to incorporate this into my story somehow. And this is just a photo of plant life, and I like the depth of all of it. So you've got the bushes up here, and then you've got the ones here, and then back there you've got big trees and a palm tree and stuff. I just love the depth of that, and that can totally be the entryway to Alec's home or Alice's house or whatever. It could be some sort of meeting spot for them. I love the colors in this, the depth, the brightness in the front, the darkness in the back, the gray sky. This is a cool photo. I actually am really happy with this photo that I took. And then the next one, this is the very last one. This is another side of the museum that I was inspired to make Alice's house from. So this is a completely different side. You've got the window that's kind of mirrored. You can't see the inside, you can see the outside. And then the plant life on the side is totally different than the plant life from the other side that we saw. I love the outside of this. It's so neat, and it's perfect for the kind of color palette I'm going for. But I specifically took this picture just as more inspiration for Alice's house, but then also what other buildings I could incorporate around her house. So I know you, like as a writer, you want to kind of tell a story that immerses your reader into it and thinks that they can create the world in their own head without even looking at it. And that's sort of what I'm doing by taking these photos. So when I take these photos, I get so inspired about creating my own world by looking at a world that's already created. So as we go back into the Trello, I added all 6 attachments into the location section under inspiration. So all of my photos are right in there, and I can look at them anytime that I want. But as I'm writing my story, I can get inspired by the photos that I took. So that's what I have for you today for inspirations throughout my short story. Hopefully this will help you in some sort of way if you're trying to write your own short story. Like I said before, am a beginner. I'm at the very beginning stages of this, so I am trying to find processes and organizational tools and stuff that helps me and the way that my brain works. When it comes to creating, I know everybody has their own specific thing that works for them or that doesn't work for them. So for me in particular, these are the things that work for me, and hopefully in sharing this, I can kind of guide you or help you find what works for you. So thank you so much, and I can't wait for you guys to watch my next video. We're getting closer and closer to turning this short story into something great. So hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and I will be sure to keep you up to date on this thing and help in any way that I can by sharing the things that I learn along the way.